Hey, what's up, guys? Come on into the room. Welcome to K Talk TV, where we do what? We talk about it. All right, so today we're going to be following up with the story. Um, Shannon Sharpe has settled his sexual assault lawsuit. Okay, and so I'm going to be reading from page 6. Shannon Sharpe has reached a settlement agreement in his $50 million grape and sexual battery lawsuit. So it says, after protracted and respectful negotiations, I'm pleased to announce that we have reached a mutual agreed upon resolution. The accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, wrote in an announcement on Instagram on Friday, this past Friday. All matters have been addressed satisfactorily and the matter is closed. The lawsuit would thus be dismissed with prejudice. Okay, so it seems like Homegirl has got her check, and now it seems like the check has apparently cashed because the accuser made a statement, and I guess she posted this to her Instagram. And her statement reads as follows: Today, I have decided to retire from OnlyFans. Thank you for the incredible support you've shown me over the past few years. This community has given me a life I could have never imagined. Oh, really? Okay. I'll still be active on social media and have several new projects in the works that I can't wait to share. I'm truly excited for this next chapter. I love you all forever and ever. Okay, so apparently Homegirl settled the lawsuit quietly, cutesy, and demurely with Shannon Sharpe. And she took that check to the bank and she cashed it. I don't think it says how much she settled for, but I'm sure it was a pretty penny. So, now she does not have to do OF anymore. She can take that money and flip it and do a number, whatever she wants to do with it. And it's just a cautionary tale for men. I'm not saying that as a man, you shouldn't be interested in whatever type of woman you're interested in, whether she is an OF model, whether she's young, whether she's white, whether she's black, whether she's Asian, whatever. But I think when you're a man of Shannon Sharpe's caliber and you have so much to lose, that it may be smart to start dealing with a certain type of woman, one who's going to come in, do what you need her to do, and she's going to leave quietly. And you guys, maybe, you have a mutual agreement. Perhaps she's being taken care of financially and they are non-disclosure agreements in place to where, if when you guys go your separate ways, things are not leaked and you're not being accused of having her do something against her will, because everybody is a consenting adult and everything is agreed upon. This is just unfortunate for Shannon Sharpe. I'm sure that perhaps some of the followers that he may have had, he may have lost some of his followers and some of the people that watched his shows, the Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, and I do believe he has stepped down from his position at ESPN. it's unfortunate, and not only is it unfortunate, it's embarrassing. It tarnished his legacy a bit. I don't know if he's going to bounce back from this, but it's just a bit embarrassing, and all that money that he has now given over to this young lady is part of his generational wealth that should have been kept in his family amongst his family members and his children. And now that money is basically just like washed down the drain. um I just think that men, once you reach a certain level, or and you have acquired a certain amount of wealth, you have to be so careful the way you move. You just can't do things that regular people do. And unfortunately, the females that you associate yourself with, they should be of a certain caliber. They should be of a certain age. They should be of a certain mindset to where you're not having to worry about, okay, when we go our separate ways, is she going to be accusing me of doing XYZ? Now, I'm not saying that whatever this young lady accused Shannon Sharpe of that he didn't do. I don't know whether he did it or whether he didn't do it, because, of course, I was not there. But you shouldn't even put yourself in a position where you can even be accused of doing anything, because let's put on the tinfoil kufi. Let's say that he really didn't do anything wrongful, and everything that transpired between the two of them was consensual. Unfortunately, in the era that we're in now, sometimes if you're even accused of doing anything, even if you didn't do it, you did it. Because once somebody accuses you of doing something, and you know it's out in the public, sometimes you're guilty until proven innocent. So, and like I said, I'm not caping for Shannon. I don't know, whether he did whatever this young lady is saying that he did. I mean, he could have done it. But that's a hefty price to pay for a piece of tail. So we'll see if this goes away quietly, and if he gets his job back on ESPN, and if this quietly gets swept up under the rug, and we just forget about it. We'll see what happens. It's just very unfortunate. It's unfortunate to have to pay out that type of money, for a tryst, a romp, a roll in the hay. It's very unfortunate. So let's see what they're saying on ESPN about it. Let's see what they're saying on ESPN. Basically, all matters have been addressed satisfactorily. Well, okay, that's what I read before. No details were released. The lawsuit filed under the pseudonym Jane Doe. She had sought $50 million. Shannon Sharpe called the allegations false and disruptive when the lawsuit was filed in April in Clark County, Nevada. Let's see. He stepped away from work at ESPN on April 24th, but had pledged to return by the start of the NFL preseason. Okay, so as it appears, he's supposed to be going back to ESPN when football season starts. Okay. A phone message seeking comment from Sharpe's attorney, David Chesnoff, wasn't immediately returned on Friday. Okay. It says both sides acknowledged a long term, consensual, and tumultuous relationship, said Busby, who also represented a number of women who filed suits against Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Okay. Sharpe was a four-time All-Pro tight end who played on two Super Bowl winning teams with Denver and one with Baltimore. Okay, well, his career spanned over 14 seasons from 1990 to 2003. All right, so, you know, hopefully this will be a lesson learned by Shannon, and he will tread lightly and be a bit more cautious in the future as it relates to whoever he decides to get into a relationship with. Okay, guys, that has been the update on Shannon Sharpe and his lawsuit and the accuser and the shenanigans that transpired and the remedy to this lawsuit. It's been settled, and hopefully this will be the last time Shannon Sharpe has to go through something like this. All right, guys, until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It's free, and it helps me build my channel. All right, guys, until next time, until we chat again.